After 20 years practicing medicine, one thing still surprises me. Not how many people struggle with diabetes, but how many are doing everything right and still not seeing their numbers improve. I remember a patient once telling me, "I've changed my diet, I walk every day, I take my medication, so why won't my A1C move?" Have you ever wondered the same thing? Because what I'm about to share may change how you see this condition entirely. Most people are taught that managing blood sugar is about removing things, cutting sugar, reducing carbs, avoiding certain foods. And while that matters, research suggests there is another side to this story, a quieter, often overlooked side. What if the real issue isn't just what's too high, but what's too low? Inside the body, high blood sugar doesn't just circulate, it behaves like a slow-burning fire. And like any fire, it consumes resources. Studies indicate that chronic elevated glucose may deplete certain essential vitamins at a much faster rate than normal. Imagine trying to run a complex machine while key components are slowly being stripped away. That's what may be happening inside your cells. Your metabolism, your nerves, even your heart and kidneys rely on microscopic tools, vitamins that help process glucose, protect tissues, and maintain balance. Without them, the system doesn't just slow down, it begins to misfire. So the question becomes, what exactly is missing? And more importantly, could restoring these hidden elements change the trajectory of blood sugar itself? Because in the next few moments, we'll uncover the first piece of this puzzle, and it may not be what you expect. Millions of people over 60 experience stubborn blood sugar levels. But almost no one talks about the invisible drain happening inside their bodies. This silent nutrient drain isn't caused by anything obvious. It's not just diet or exercise lapses. Studies indicate that chronically high glucose acts like a relentless vacuum, siphoning away critical vitamins that your body needs to regulate insulin, protect nerves, and even maintain healthy arteries. Think of it like a leaky boat. You're rowing, doing everything right, yet water keeps seeping in. No matter how hard you row, if you don't plug the holes, progress is slow. Sometimes imperceptibly so. Research shows that vitamins like K2, B1 in its fat-soluble form, Benfotamine, and D3 are particularly vulnerable. They are quietly depleted, often before anyone notices symptoms. Osteocalcin activation, nerve protection, and insulin sensitivity, these crucial processes all begin to falter when these nutrients run low. And the consequences extend beyond sugar numbers. Mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells, become stressed. Inflammation creeps in. Nerves begin to misfire. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Scientists have observed that even a small drop in these vitamin levels can ripple into measurable changes in A1C, insulin responsiveness, and long-term organ health. But here's the curious part. Most people never consider that adding nutrients could be as impactful as removing sugar. Could restoring these missing pieces actually help the body reclaim balance? Imagine the difference between rowing a leaky boat versus one with a sealed hull. Suddenly, every effort becomes more effective. Every nutrient restored is like patching a hole, letting your body work efficiently again. And this is only the beginning, because the first vitamin in our story doesn't just patch holes, it redirects the traffic of calcium in your body in a way that can change everything. Inside your cells, a quiet chain reaction begins the moment blood sugar rises. It's subtle, invisible, yet incredibly powerful. Scientists have observed that excess glucose triggers multiple metabolic pathways, some of which produce harmful compounds known as AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These molecules stick to proteins, nerves, and blood vessels, slowly degrading function over time. Have you ever wondered why some people seem fine on paper, normal labs, diet conscious, but still experience neuropathy, fatigue, or stubborn A1C readings? The answer may lie deep inside these microscopic processes. Mitochondria, your cellular power plants, are particularly sensitive. High glucose increases oxidative stress, almost like over-revving an engine without oil. Research suggests that nutrient deficiencies, particularly vitamins K2, B1, and D3, leave these engines even more vulnerable. When the cellular machinery lacks the right cofactors, insulin signaling falters, inflammation rises, and the body's ability to detoxify glucose diminishes. Consider it a domino effect. One small deficiency can ripple outward, affecting energy, nerve health, and organ function. Even subtle imbalances can slow insulin's message, leaving sugar levels elevated despite your best efforts. And yet, what if there were a way to intervene quietly, almost invisibly before symptoms worsen? A way to nudge the system back toward harmony using nutrients your body was designed to use, but has been slowly losing. This is where vitamin K2 enters the picture. Known as the calcium architect, it doesn't just support bones. Scientists have discovered that it helps direct calcium away from arteries, while simultaneously activating proteins that enhance pancreatic insulin release. In diabetes, this dual action may not just protect the heart, it could also make your cells 20 to 28% more receptive to insulin signals. But how does a vitamin that manages calcium also influence sugar metabolism? That connection is as surprising as it is crucial. What if I told you that calcium, the mineral most people associate only with bones, could secretly sabotage blood sugar control when it goes to the wrong places? Vitamin K2 is often called the traffic controller for calcium, and for good reason. Without it, calcium can accumulate in arteries instead of bones, leading to stiffening vessels that increase cardiovascular risk, a major concern for people with diabetes. Studies indicate that K2 activates osteocalcin, a protein that not only shepherds calcium into bones, but also signals the pancreas to produce more insulin. Imagine your body as a city at night. Calcium is like vehicles on the streets. When traffic lights fail, chaos ensues. Arteries become clogged, insulin signals get lost, and vital organs suffer. K2 restores order. It sets the lights, guides the flow, and ensures that nutrients arrive where they are needed most. Research shows that MK7, one form of K2, remains active in the bloodstream for up to 72 hours, offering prolonged support for insulin signaling and vascular health. This is particularly important in diabetes, where the pancreas and cells are constantly battling glucose overload. Deficiency signs may appear subtle at first: easy bruising, bleeding gums, joint stiffness. Yet these quiet warnings often precede more serious consequences, like arterial calcification or poor glucose response. It's as if the body whispers before it shouts. Practically, food sources like natto, certain cheeses, and goose liver provide K2 naturally, but studies suggest that supplementation, especially in the MK7 form, can make a measurable difference in insulin sensitivity and vascular protection. And here's the intriguing part. The same nutrient that guides calcium may also awaken a forgotten capacity in your pancreas, helping your body respond to sugar more efficiently. But how exactly does this protein communicate with insulin-producing cells? That mystery leads us to the heart of K2's unique role. The story of vitamin K2 deepens when we look at osteocalcin, the protein it activates. Scientists have discovered that osteocalcin doesn't just shuttle calcium, it actually talks to your pancreas, whispering signals that make beta cells release insulin more effectively. In people with diabetes, this can mean a 20 to 28% improvement in how cells respond to insulin, according to research. Picture this. Your pancreas is like a factory. High sugar can overwhelm the assembly line, causing delays and errors. Osteocalcin acts like a skilled supervisor, guiding the workers and helping insulin production run more smoothly. Without it, even healthy routines, diet, exercise, medication, can feel like pushing water uphill. Curiously, this effect also extends to energy metabolism. Cells that receive these signals efficiently convert glucose into usable fuel instead of letting it linger in the bloodstream. Studies suggest this is one reason why people with adequate K2 levels often see modest reductions in fasting blood sugar and improved A1C readings over time. But there's another layer. MK4 and MK7, the two main forms of K2, behave differently. MK7 circulates longer, offering steady support for insulin signaling and cardiovascular protection, while MK4 works more quickly but requires frequent intake. Choosing the right form and ensuring consistent levels can subtly influence how effectively your body manages sugar. I remember a patient in her 70s telling me she had always struggled with stubborn post-meal spikes. After introducing a targeted K2 regimen under her doctor's guidance, she described her energy returning and her glucose readings stabilizing. It wasn't instant, but she noticed a slow, steady improvement, like a sunrise gradually illuminating a dark room. And yet, K2 is just the first key. The body has another silent guardian waiting to protect nerves, prevent toxic sugar byproducts, and repair damage already underway. This next vitamin may surprise you in how dramatically it shields the nervous system. While vitamin K2 orchestrates calcium and insulin, another vitamin quietly defends your nerves from the silent onslaught of high blood sugar. Benfotamine, a fat-soluble form of vitamin B1. Unlike standard thiamine, benfotamine penetrates cells up to 5 times more efficiently, reaching areas where nerve damage often begins. Diabetic neuropathy, the tingling, burning, or numbness in hands and feet, affects millions, and researchers have observed that chronic glucose exposure accelerates this damage through multiple metabolic pathways. These pathways convert excess sugar into toxic compounds called AGEs that stick to nerves, blood vessels, and connective tissue. Benfotamine acts like a shield, blocking these harmful reactions and slowing nerve deterioration. Imagine your nerves as delicate electrical wires. High glucose creates sparks along the lines, causing insulation to fray. Benfotamine is like a protective coating, shielding these wires so signals travel smoothly again. Studies suggest it can reduce neuropathic symptoms by up to 50 to 60% and lower fasting glucose by 12 to 18 milligrams per deciliter. Deficiency signs are often subtle: unexplained fatigue, tingling sensations, or a mild loss of appetite. These early warnings can easily be dismissed as part of normal aging, yet they signal that your nervous system is under stress. Natural B1 is found in sunflower seeds, black beans, and pork, But the therapeutic effects of benfotamine usually require supplementation in the range of 300 to 600 milligrams daily, often split into 2 doses. Research indicates that this higher bioavailable form reaches cells more effectively, offering both preventative and restorative benefits. And here's a fascinating curiosity. By protecting nerves and improving cellular energy, benfotamine indirectly supports insulin signaling, creating a ripple effect throughout metabolism. It's like reinforcing a single bridge that suddenly restores traffic flow across the entire city. But while nerves gain this quiet defense, there is yet another nutrient, a master regulator, that can amplify insulin production and safeguard multiple organs simultaneously. Now, imagine a single nutrient that behaves less like a vitamin and more like a conductor of the body's orchestra. That is vitamin D3, or cholecalciferol. Unlike K2, which directs calcium traffic, or benfotamine, which shields nerves, D3 communicates directly with your pancreas and immune system, helping to regulate insulin production at a fundamental level. Studies indicate that adequate D3 levels can stimulate pancreatic beta cells, potentially boosting insulin output by as much as 60%. Think of your pancreas as a locked door. Without D3, the key is missing. With it, the door opens smoothly, allowing the body to respond more effectively to glucose. But its influence doesn't stop there. Research suggests that D3 also protects the kidney's delicate filtering units, reduces cardiovascular risk by about 1/3, and modulates inflammation that can worsen insulin resistance. It's as if D3 is both a watchful guardian and a master technician, repairing systems quietly behind the scenes. Deficiency signs are often easy to overlook. Deep bone aches, muscle weakness, mood changes, or frequent infections. Many seniors assume these are just part of aging, but studies indicate they may reflect insufficient D3 levels, an early signal that the body is missing a critical regulator. Natural sources include brief midday sun exposure and fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. Standard supplementation ranges from 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily, but optimal dosing should be guided by blood levels. Research suggests maintaining 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter supports insulin function and organ protection without risking toxicity. And here's a curiosity. D3 doesn't just stimulate insulin production, it works in tandem with K2 and benfotamine, creating a network of protection that addresses glucose, nerve health, and vascular integrity simultaneously. This synergistic effect is why focusing on a single nutrient often falls short. But how do these 3 vitamins interact inside the body to form what I like to call a biological fortress? The answer reveals a strategy that many overlook entirely. Bringing these 3 vitamins together, K2, benfotamine, and D3, creates more than the sum of their parts. Scientists have observed that their effects intertwine, like interlocking gears in a precision watch. K2 directs calcium and improves insulin sensitivity. Benfotamine shields nerves and prevents toxic sugar damage, and D3 stimulates insulin production while protecting organs. Together, they form a biological fortress guarding against the hidden damage of high blood sugar. Imagine walking through a garden after a storm. The plants are battered, the soil compacted, yet with careful tending, sunlight, and nutrients, life returns. Your body works in a similar way. These vitamins repair, protect, and restore balance, often quietly, long before noticeable symptoms appear. Research suggests that restoring these nutrients can reduce insulin resistance by up to 35% and lower A1C by roughly 0.6%. Numbers that may seem small but can profoundly affect long-term health, particularly for the heart, kidneys, and nervous system. Even modest improvements at the cellular level ripple outward, creating noticeable changes in energy, mobility, and daily resilience. Curiously, the body often signals these deficiencies subtly through fatigue, minor neuropathy, bruising, or mood shifts before any lab test alerts you. These are whispers from your cells, nudging you toward restoration. Food alone may provide some support, but studies suggest supplementation ensures consistent cellular availability, especially in forms that the body absorbs and retains most effectively. MK7 for K2, fat-soluble benfotamine, and sufficient IU of D3 guided by blood tests. And here's an intriguing thought. This isn't about quick fixes or treating symptoms superficially. It's about giving your body the exact tools it needs to rebuild its defenses, improving glucose metabolism while protecting critical organs. But even with these nutrients in place, managing diabetes involves another overlooked factor that can silently undermine progress: the timing and rhythm of your body's daily cycles. There's a silent rhythm in our bodies that often goes unnoticed, our circadian cycle. Scientists have observed that blood sugar, insulin sensitivity, and hormone release all follow daily patterns, subtly rising and falling like waves on a shoreline. Disrupting this rhythm, even slightly, can magnify glucose fluctuations and blunt the effectiveness of nutrients like K2, benfotamine, and D3. Have you noticed how fatigue or cravings can feel worse at certain times of day? That's your circadian rhythm signaling that your cells are out of sync. Studies indicate that aligning meals, sunlight exposure, and nutrient intake with your body's natural clock can amplify the benefits of vitamins and improve overall metabolic balance. Imagine your body as an orchestra. K2, benfotamine, and D3 are the instruments, but if the conductor, the circadian rhythm, is offbeat, even the finest musicians produce a discordant sound. When the rhythm is restored, each nutrient performs optimally, signals flow smoothly, and glucose is handled more efficiently. Research also suggests that vitamin D3 production from sunlight is closely tied to this rhythm, meaning a brief midday exposure can enhance both insulin production and mood regulation. Likewise, studies indicate that timing benfotamine and K2 in alignment with meals may improve absorption and effectiveness. Small adjustments, morning sunlight, nutrient timing, and consistent sleep can transform the cellular environment from a chaotic storm into a balanced system, maximizing how your body responds to sugar. And here's the curiosity. Even with perfect nutrient intake, ignoring this hidden daily rhythm may limit results. But when the rhythm, nutrients, and lifestyle align, the body starts to rebuild a quiet fortress against glucose damage, almost as if it remembers how to function optimally. Next, we'll explore a practical blueprint that combines all three vitamins and daily habits, showing how small adjustments can create profound long-term changes. By now, you can begin to see the blueprint emerging. When vitamin K2, benfotiamine, and D3 work together, aligned with your body's natural rhythm, they form a protective system that guards blood vessels, nerves, and vital organs while improving glucose control. Research indicates that this combination can reduce insulin resistance, lower A1C, and shield tissues from the silent damage high blood sugar inflicts over years. Think of it as constructing a fortress, brick by brick. Each nutrient is a cornerstone. K2 guides calcium and sharpens insulin signaling. Benfotamine shields nerves and blocks toxic pathways, and D3 activates pancreatic beta cells while protecting kidneys and heart. Individually, they help. Together, they create a network of defense that's difficult for glucose to breach. Curiously, this fortress isn't built overnight. Small, consistent steps, adding nutrient-rich foods, targeted supplementation, brief sun exposure, and aligning meals with circadian rhythms allow the body to gradually reclaim balance. Studies suggest that even incremental improvements in vitamin status can ripple outward, affecting energy levels, nerve function, and cardiovascular health. I remember a patient telling me how she felt like she was finally turning the tide after months of careful adjustment. Her daily neuropathic tingling eased, energy returned, and her fasting glucose numbers began to stabilize. This isn't magic. It's science slowly revealing its effects through patience and consistency. And yet, the most fascinating part may be how this approach reframes our understanding of diabetes itself. It isn't solely a disease to manage by restriction, it's a condition that can respond to restoration, giving your body the tools it has been quietly begging for. But even as we build this fortress, there's one final insight that ties it all together. The principle that makes these nutrients not just protective, but transformative for long-term metabolic health. Here's the final piece of the story. Managing diabetes isn't just about lowering sugar, it's about giving your body what it needs to defend itself. Scientists suggest that deficiencies in K2, benfotamine, and D3 quietly undermine the very systems designed to regulate glucose, protect nerves, and safeguard organs. Replenishing them doesn't just fill gaps, it restores a balance that has been gradually lost over years. Think of your body as a garden. High blood sugar is like an unrelenting drought, sapping nutrients from the soil. Vitamins act like rain, sunlight, and compost, gradually restoring vitality. With K2 guiding calcium, benfotamine shielding nerves, and D3 activating insulin production, each plant, the heart, kidneys, pancreas, and nerves, begins to flourish again. Curiously, the impact is often first felt in small human moments: the hands that no longer tingle, the energy to walk a few extra steps, the steady glucose readings on the meter. Studies indicate that improvements in these vitamins can lower insulin resistance by up to 35% and reduce A1C by nearly 0.6%, all while protecting vital organs from long-term glucose damage. And yet, the real power lies in synergy. Each nutrient amplifies the others. K2's influence on insulin sensitivity enhances the effect of D3. Benfotamine reduces nerve stress that otherwise contributes to glucose instability. Together, they form a dynamic system, quietly reinforcing the body's natural defenses. Small, consistent actions, targeted supplementation, nutrient-rich foods, and alignment with your body's daily rhythms can create profound transformations over time. It's not about a quick fix, it's about building a fortress, brick by brick, that supports mobility, independence, and vitality well into your later years. So, the question remains, which of these three essential vitamins might be the missing key in your own metabolic story? And what could happen if your body finally had the tools it needs to thrive?